What was your takeaway from it?
So I think there were a couple of other people, to be fair, who talked to him before I did.
Well, I'm trying to like give you a elevation.
Oh no, I totally appreciate it, but I don't want to take credit away from anybody else who did it. So, but my takeaway was this was not somebody who was seeking to destroy the idea of women in tech. In fact, there's a whole page and a half of the memo that is specifically dedicated to the idea of how do we get more women into tech, because one of the reasons you don't see as many women in tech is because fewer women are interested in getting into tech because of all of the demands of work-life balance, because of the way that the job itself is done. And so he looks at that, he looks at the social science data, and he says, okay, maybe we can make the jobs more attractive to women by doing X, Y, and Z. And for this, he's run out of a rail from Google, which just demonstrates the sort of orthodoxy at Google. And if you're a heretic in any way, you have to be ousted by the upper echelon. I
was surprised that he got fired. I mean, isn't this something when you're 28 years old, you might get, a warning, maybe a memo put in your file?
It got so big, I think it went around the internet so much that Google was forced into a position where all of the quote-unquote diversity advocates inside Google who can't stand an opposing opinion felt they had to make a stink about it in response, and thus he had to go. They were afraid that somebody might launch a lawsuit. I mean, there were stories about women who were staying home from work because they were so offended, which, of course, sort of proves James Damore's point about the differences between the sexes. And if you want to prove that women are completely the same as men in the workplace, I don't know how many men would have taken off a day for sexism reasons if some woman had written a memo about how bad men are. You talk a lot. You visit a lot of campuses where there's obviously an attempt to restrict free speech. But it's interesting to me to watch this actually happen at Google, that they had to cancel the town hall meeting because people were afraid for their safety. Yeah, I mean, I'd heard that. I'd like to see the evidence as to who was actually being threatened. Obviously, threats of violence are out of bounds on all grounds. Right. And so if there were people of the right who were threatening people about diversity meetings, then that's obviously out of bounds. But let's see the evidence of it. All right, we got another story because White House aide Omarosa Manigault, she's finding herself at the center of this controversy. She was invited to be a panelist during the National Association of Black Journalists Conference. But shortly after she was added, 2 journalists dropped out, though they now claim she wasn't the reason. And I kind of feel bad for her. I mean, they showed tonight a picture that when she's there, some of the journalists got up and turned their backs to her. I can understand if they don't agree with her policies or maybe even that of President Trump, but surely they should be proud of her for getting this position in the White House and at least give her the courtesy of a listen. Well, this is the biggest problem, is this notion that you go to lectures and then you turn your back on the person who's there. And what exactly are they protesting from Omarosa? I'm again, looking for the policy that they're very angry about. My understanding is that Omarosa, when she was at this event, she even actually criticized the president on such things as his talk about treatment by police of criminals. So she wasn't exactly, towing the party line on everything Trump-related, but she was treated as an outcast because the National Association of Black Journalists is apparently the National Association of Leftist Black Journalists. All right, and before you go, 3 months ago, she was in prison for one of the worst security breaches in our history, but now Chelsea Manning, you talk about her a lot, she's getting this full celebrity treatment, complete with this lengthy profile in Vogue and a photo shoot by famed celebrity photographer Annie Leibovitz. In the time we have remaining, I wonder what you think about this, because in some ways, it just feels like a push from the left to glamorize somebody who, one, broke the law, and also, I don't know, really deserves this kind of celebrity treatment, but I'll let you tell us what you think. Well, it's a slap in the face, I think, to all Americans and people in the military who were victimized by Chelsea Manning's behavior when Chelsea Manning was leaking military secrets to WikiLeaks. Well, what's amazing about all of this, of course, is the left is trying to use identity politics as a cover for anti-patriotism. So Chelsea Manning is a traitor, and now they are trying to say, well, if you don't like Chelsea Manning being a traitor, it's really because you're anti-trans. Chelsea Manning, by the way, has already tweeted out that he is not watching this particular segment, to which I tweeted back that I hope not, because I wouldn't want Chelsea Manning to let Al-Qaeda know that it's happening. Well, it's true. And I also think that, obviously Annie Leibovitz, that's a, high praise. And there have been other transgenders that get this kind of treatment. And, okay, that's fine. But in this particular case, when it came to what he did, when it came to stealing those documents and giving them to WikiLeaks, to me, that just crossed a line. I totally agree. I mean, again, there's a lot of controversy over people like Caitlyn Jenner and whether they should be getting the star treatment over a controversial question about mental illness or not mental illness. But to combine that, to use that as sort of a shield for bad behavior, for traitorous behavior, and then to suggest that anyone who